Right, today we're going to be talking about Zoom and the plugins for Moodle. I know that there's some confusion about which one to use. There are two different ones in Moodle that you have to choose from, and some limitations are applied to each one of those. So some things you might still have to go to the Zoom website, and I will show you that as well. So what we start off with is we go to the gear, we turn our editing on. Mine's already on, and then I'm going to go to add an activity or resource. And in here, what we have under activities, we have two different options. The most obvious one is called Zoom Meeting. The other one, though, is called External Tool. So we're going to start with the Zoom Meeting. And as with anything, it gives you just a little blurb about what it is. As we go in here, I'll just Zoom plugin. You can give a description. And this is just going to set up a singular meeting. So you want to have a quick meeting with your class, or you could also have it recurring. That's fine as well. And so this just allows you to do this without having to go into the Zoom website. So I also have the Zoom website here, and I could have created it here and then grabbed the link and pulled that in. So this is just an easy way of creating this. So I can put in the time, I can put in how long it is, I can say that it's recurring. And again, all these question marks will help you understand what you can do. Webinar is not something you're going to choose for our account because we do not use the webinar function. The host has video, the participants have video, yes. This is how we connect with the audio options. So it allows folks to connect both through the computer audio as well as the telephone. This is where the concern maybe comes in. So although you are setting up a meeting, which does allow folks to call in, the limitation with this plugin is that the telephone number doesn't actually display once you create it and the student clicks on it. The only real option when they go in this direction is to actually click on it and open it within a web browser or on the app on their phone or tablet. If they actually were going to use a dial-in number, the number doesn't show. It's not that it's not created. So this is sort of a limitation with how this plugin was developed. Unfortunately, it is the one that was recommended, and so when we were upgrading Moodle, so we do have it as available, but I do need you to understand that that is a limitation, and so maybe querying your students in advance and finding out if there is anyone that would truly need that. And there's also the chance that someone has bad internet or they have a connection on wireless that's problematic and they have to call in. So something you should always know. Then you have the basic, some other basic things here on meeting option, enable join before host, so the students could come in before hosts, and you can give alternative hosts. But so it's pretty limited in scope as to what you can adjust on this. I can do save and display, and it'll just give me, start meeting, sessions, if I join link, but again, it says you can call in through the telephone, but it doesn't give you the phone number. I can go to all meetings here, and again, it'll just show that this is the one that I just created. Actually, sorry, this is the one I just created, and we can, start that up, or I could go back to the general sandbox here, or the main page of my screen. So at this point I have Zoom activity here, and this was the other Zoom call that I had put in. Previously I had already connected these Zoom external tools, so again all I would do would be go in here and click external tool, and again it gives us just information about external tools in general, so it's not specifying anything about Zoom in here. So in this case I'm going to come in here and I'm actually going to say edit settings, because it's the same thing as bringing in a new one essentially. What you get is you get an activity name, which you can title it whatever you want. And then under pre-configured tools, it normally starts out and says automatic based on tool URL. And one of the options is Zoom Pro. So what this really is going to be doing is it's going to be kind of making a frame within Moodle that pulls in what looks like most of the Zoom website. There are a couple options here, but most of these things are not things that you would be adjusting. So I'm just going to hit save and display. And both of these, this is also key, which I didn't bring up, both of these are based on the idea that you have a Dickinson Pro Zoom account. So they know that you have logged into this Moodle as yourself and that the Dickinson email is attached to your Zoom account. So basically it's looking at Zoom's website to see if for instance, for me, landisb at dickinson.edu has a pro Zoom account. I do, so this all functions. Here are a couple things to know, though, is that there's a couple things on your view as faculty, as the person that's putting this in, that looks different than others. So at this point, I have upcoming meetings, and although I do have, if I go to Zoom and I look at upcoming meetings, I do have some things here. What this is going to do is it's only going to show upcoming meetings that you have created through this tool, meaning that it's only related to this particular course. So you could put this external tool in 3 different courses, creates meetings within each individual course, and then only the ones that you created within this one on this course would show up. So I could schedule a new meeting, put all that in. I'm just going to do default. It does allow you to choose a passcode. If you don't want a passcode, you can do that. It does default to waiting room as well. So you can have both a passcode and a waiting room. We do highly recommend it, at least using the waiting room and just allowing people in. Again, you can do telephone, computer, audio, both, and all these other options in here as well. So I'm going to hit save. And also you can see down here that once I have that created, it does give you the poll option. So you can create some basic polling for within your Zoom meeting. So you can poll your students and ask questions. So I'm not going to go into that right now, but this plugin tool does allow you to do that, so you don't just have to go back. Okay, so so the other thing that is a little bit confusing on this particular tool is it doesn't take me straight out. It keeps me in here where I've created this meeting. So the Zoom tool itself has these little breadcrumbs, just like Moodle has the breadcrumbs to go back. So there isn't really an easy back button on this. So what I would do is I would just click course meetings again. So again, it's just showing the meetings related to this particular course. And now it does have this one shown, has my meeting ID, has all that information. I can go in here and I can, in the invitation, it also has the phone number that you can call in on. So phone number, all these things. So those are all the different elements. So I can go back here. It'll also list any previous meetings. I had a call actually with Ryan today, so we were doing some testing here, and it shows cloud recordings, and it does show your personal meeting room. This is one thing that is a bit confusing. So the personal meeting room link does not show up to students. So if you did want to have a personal meeting room that you have this link out there somewhere, you would really just come in, grab the URL, and then you would go to the front page of your course and just say add an activity or resource and say URL and say this is my personal Zoom meeting room. So it is a little bit different just for the Zoom meeting room itself. And so what I thought I'd show you is I'm now in the sandbox as a student. So this is exactly what a student would see. So on Zoom activity, this is what we get. So again, it does not give me a phone number, and it's also unable to join because that has already, that time frame has already ceased. So it was earlier today. So that's why there isn't a button. But if it's within a time frame, or if it's an open time that, anyone can jump in at any point, that's what they would get. On the student side, for the full Zoom tool, it does give us upcoming meetings. Again, I can join that. It gives me previous meetings. If it's available, if it's been recorded, it would show on cloud recordings. We don't have that, but it just will at least list like these were times that the class has met. And if someone came here and thought, oh, I missed that today at 11 a.m. And it does give you some Zoom tutorials, but you can see that the personal meeting room is not there, but on the student side, they will be able to join. They would be able to click on the invitation. Again, they could grab that phone number or click directly within the app. One other thing I did want to show is in one of these other courses, so this particular person is enrolled as a student in the one course and as faculty in another one. If I come in here, and in this course, this person is listed as faculty, if I tried to add a Zoom meeting, and hit add, it's going to give me this. And the reason why is because this person does not have a pro level Zoom account through Dickinson. And so if you do not have a Zoom account through Dickinson, you can just email help desk and say, I want to get a Zoom pro level account so I can have it for my courses, and that can all be set up for you. And the same thing goes for if I add an activity and go with the external tool, it will take you to the first screen because it's not basing it off of Zoom yet. So I really have to say it's for Zoom, and then I can try to say save and display, and it's going to give me this. It's a slightly different warning, but it says it's not going to work because it's invalid. The person does not have an account within Zoom itself. So I'm going to go back here a second. So you can see here within Zoom, you have access to see all of your different setups. So all of these ones, like I just created the one in the sandbox, so that one has now shown up. I just refreshed my page, as well as this one, the Zoom plugin. And it'll show, is it recurring? When was it? And all of the different information. Anything that's upcoming, I can hit start. Anything that was previous, I can delete. Go through. So again, you do have your personal meeting room access here, and with any of these, I can go into the Zoom plugin, and I can do have additional edits. And again, we can talk I can show you in a different link about the polling, but the convenience is that the external plugin does allow you to add polls within those particular meetings that you have set up. So the key here, one other key is, or if I go back to my meetings here, if I wanted to grab, like I said, either direct link for any of these meetings, my personal meeting room, I could just copy that and then I can put it in directly. So you really have three ways of doing it. One is that you're going to create everything on the Zoom page, grab the links, put them in as URLs. The other option is using the plugin. Just has a more limited basis, but there's a convenience of just being able to do it quickly on the fly. But I would say that more often than not, you would want to use this. It's a one-stop shop, so it's one place. So I would maybe create this topic and say, Zoom activity or Zoom meetings, and then when they go in here, they would list all of their upcoming meetings and, kind of organize all of them. It might not work as well if you're, you really want to embed each Zoom into a particular block, like if it's a weekly setup. So there are reasons why you would maybe set it up differently, but the external tool is a nice one-stop shop, makes everything really handy. The students can have all the listings, and it's less likely that they would miss a particular time because they could just come in here and know exactly when it's going to be set up to go. So if you have any additional questions, please do send in a message to academictechnology@dickinson.edu, and we will follow up and try to help you out. We can also do testing to make sure that everything that you think looks properly for the student view does.